Welcome to Discovering the World of Natural Health. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. Welcome to our January the 11th live show that we're going to talk about alternative and natural healing. Why in the world do I sit here at WHIG TV and talk to you about life doing it the natural way? Why? Because it can be beneficial. It can be the answer. Why? Because I had to experience it naturally. Going through health crisis, making sure that you do things, and as a person that is just turning 72 years of age, I am in the process of going back and looking at how in the world did I get to have the pleasure to be able to share knowledge and information with you, the audience. That is so unique because each one of us has something we're concerned about. Every one of us know someone that has health challenges. They could be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and a health challenge can be financial, because if those are areas that are causing negativity, then any negativity will take and break down and rob, steal, and destroy from us the joy that we're supposed to be having. It is so sad that we've had so much of this overwhelming pandemic stuff that we have lost joy and happiness in the middle of the crap. We have got to understand that all you need to do when it is crap is you need to put it in the toilet, flush it, and let it be gone, and move on with the positive things that are a change to the natural approach. You know, the information on Remedy This Naturally is designed to increase your knowledge of healing practices. Because we want to be well. So what is it that we can do that gives us the ability of having knowledge for healing? And that may, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just so happen, it did happen in my life, in the life of my family, that I made a full-time profession of the life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness naturally. But because it changed my life, it turned my son's life around, where health and healing came from a natural approach. And so, what did it do? I tried my darndest to disprove it. I tried my darndest to say, Dick Williams, you gotta be kidding me. How do you know by looking in my eyes that there's a weakness in my body in this particular location? Buddy, where's the paperwork? Where are the things that I need to study? And I did, folks. I studied, traveled the country, and I looked for reasons to say, this has got to be a bunch of voodoo, but it wasn't. It was real. It made a change. The natural approach, understanding God's pharmacy. Oh, wow. What a neat thing to happen. This show is intended for you to use as a reference resource. That's what it's for. It's a reference resource only. Not to substitute for proper and prompt medical care. You do what is necessary to do, in your best interest do. If you want to do what we do the best, use it for prevention. Use it for keeping other stuff that is negative from happening. Use this show to complement, not replace, any treatment or advice your physician may prescribe or recommend. For best results, seek your physician's approval before using any methods or remedies that we talk about that are quote unquote natural approach. Because I'm going to share with you that there is bukus of things going on in our life and our health naturally because of what we've learned. And it comes from nature, And I'm not out of too crazy, so to speak. Like millions of other Americans, I choose to take nutritional supplements. And I take them just about every day. And I do it to bolster my general health and overcome specific health problems. That's what I do. But oddly, despite clear evidence from meticulous research, nutrition or diet therapy is not yet a part of the mainstream medical care. I visit my chiropractor, not only to, I call it manipulate and restore my often aching back, but I know that I will, if I go visit the chiropractor on a weekly, monthly, semi-annually time, and I practice herbal sleep, melatonin, or just clearing the mind before you get ready to get in that sleep mode. Preventive is, I practice herbal therapy for sleep, for energy, and also first aid. And serve herbal teas. I have them for digestion, help with that aspect. I use, it can be any number of easy, safe, no cost water therapy techniques by just drinking it. Cold water trending increases my resistance to disease. Drinking 2 glasses of cold water upon waking prevents constipation. And if we have the opportunity to have a hot bath, that can actually help to ensure a good night's rest. And by putting in some herbs for aromatherapy to go into the water, for me to be able to have them smell, cause my respiratory system to relax. There's things, it's heat for healing. I like the Bach flower rescue remedies. And there's a lot of things that I do, and it is so absolutely neat to be able to have to look up something, to say, what can I do, what did I do, and just be able to have that library available. To bring it into more reality, Sometimes insurance plans, they will cover alternative health care, but most such therapies are, it's going to be out of your own pocket. But to me, I personally believe that the results of using God's pharmacy is one to help me more than happy to pay out of pocket. Does that mean I do my own doctoring? Just be my own doctor? Well, for checkups and for maintaining your overall health, I also go to a wonderful, naturopathic doctor plus a MD. And I take and want to know what is the best. And a lot of the things I do, a lot of the things that I am sold on is because they were what made the change in my life and my health and ones I've loved. And we've had to work through some situations. And I would suggest that you speak to your general practitioner and ask them to work with you as you do the natural things that come from God's pharmacy. If you've broken your arm, sprained your ankle, or been in a car wreck, there's no place to go than the emergency room. That's the best place to go. Today's Western doctors are second to none in putting your body back together after an emergency. Okay, very important. But what if you have chronic fatigue or persistent back pain or dozens of other conditions that modern medicine can still do a little for, What do you don't do then? If in the past you have much choice of treatment methods, you like to see your family doctor, so to speak, who might give you some tests, prescribe some pills, and tell you to get plenty of rest. Now, after decades of not getting much healthier while paying more and more in medical bills, some folks are using alternative medicine. Thanks to increase in interest in therapies to try to place along with study of the Western medicine, there's things like Ayurvedic medicine, biofeedback. There are things that exist, chiropractic, massage therapy. Those are important. Besides gaining popular momentum, alternative, sometimes, people call it complementary, therapies are also starting to gain respect. The Natural Institute of Health has established the Office of Alternative Medicine to investigate the effectiveness of many alternative therapies. And some major medical insurance, notorious for being ultra-conservative, will even reimburse you for certain alternative treatments. Like acupuncture, when they find the evidence is convincing enough to warrant it. As you'll find that, and you continue to listen, that we're all about the well-being of ourselves and the people who come into our lives. Alternative medicine offers a blend of care that treats not only your body, but also your mind and your spirit. And if you'll notice and you'll listen to me, I'm going to be heavy on the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. It all works together. You can't kick God to the curb and be your own God. Otherwise, you'll get kicked out of your Garden of Eden. So, I would say the best thing that we want to do, and I want to share with you, and the reason we do this show, very simple. We should have good health. And do the things that help us to do that. Herbal therapy, let's talk about it for a moment. Now, you hear me over and over again. I talk about God's pharmacy. Well, some of you, I'm going to help you out a little bit. I don't know if I'm doing you a favor or not doing you a favor, okay? If I said, keep God out of the picture and say, Earth's original pharmacy, would you accept it quicker? In using herbal therapy by the earth. Lest you scoff at the power of herbs to heal, take a close look at the labels of pain relievers and decongestants. Pay attention to what you are using, why you're using it, and how did it get to the point where it is an effective means for you to use what you are taking for your discomfort, whatever it may be, something that needs changing. But if you will look at the labels of the pain relievers and the decongestants, realizing just how many of our everyday drugs and medicines come from herbs sure makes a solid case for herbal therapy. I think about, elderberry. 2 years ago, no big deal. A year ago, and currently, elderberry. Some of you may know it by another name called Sambucol. Same stuff. But every drug and medicine come from herbs sure makes a solid case for herbal therapy. Herbs and compounds. Compounds are derived from herbs, have made some of mankind's most powerful drugs for centuries. Now, I gotta put this one in there, okay? I gotta do this one. It's just the right thing to do. Because on that last statement, it says, have made some of mankind's most powerful drugs for centuries. And they put them in a different category. And I don't talk about my plants as being drugs. I talk them as being remedies and complementary companions. Because once you name an herb as a drug or it's able to cure, then you are saying it is a drug. And then the FDA and the Food and Drug Administration will start to say, is this a food or is this a drug? Well then, if it's a drug, then you got to have a prescription so you can buy it. Or maybe over the counter. Okay, so we know that powerful drugs have been for centuries, have come from plant-based, God's pharmacy, Earth's original source. Though most people don't know it, about 1/4 of all medication that doctors prescribe today are made from active ingredients that are either derived from or are similar to plant medicines. Okay, let's help you understand this. And something that's been around a long time, even when I was a young'un. It's called an aspirin. You know, you take an aspirin, for instance, just think about that for a moment. It is derived from acetoacetic acid, which is found in the bark of the white elm tree. I said elm, excuse me, white willow tree. In fact, even our most over-the-counter and home remedies are herbal-based. When you have a bad burn, what's a natural remedy to use? Bad burn, natural remedy to use would be like aloe vera. What does aloe vera do? Basically, it comes to the rescue of that burn. Aloe vera comes to our rescue. And little after dinner mint is just what the doctor ordered to aid what? Digestion. You know, all these things, and what I am trying to get across, and I'm trying to help you understand, is that the natural way, you can start from plants that have that word A, aloe vera. Go down to the Z, xylitol. No, that's an X. You know, that is a natural sweetener. All these things, folks, more and more, we are realizing that we have got to get in harmony in our body. And here's the magic word. The magic word is homeostasis. Balanced. Balanced. And that's what's important, to be balanced. You know, I would say, you know, we've been doing this for a long time. And herbal therapy has become increasingly popular. You know, back when, I'm using as a reference a book here that goes back to 2005. So we're talking about 16 years ago. Okay, 16 years ago, herbal remedies topped 1.5 billion. And that's according to the American Botanical Council. But there's still one big problem. Herbs are considered nutritional supplements, not drugs by the FDA, which means that makers of herbal products are forbidden from putting therapeutic recommendations on the label. So, this leaves what? Consumers in a quandary about which herbs to take for which conditions, as well as how much is healthful, and that is healthful, H-E-A-L-T-H, full, and how much is harmful. This lack of regulation also means there are a lot of cheap imitations. There's a lot of things out there that won't do the job. Because somebody's out there, and it could be, I don't know, but maybe somebody that's got a potent remedy, they're getting results from it, and you're willing to pay, or the insurance company's willing to pay a certain dollar amount that's more than reasonable and customary, and we'll do a lot for health. We'll sell the farm. Not unusual. Just to stay alive a few more days and have good health and be in it. You know, but fortunately, and very fortunately, there are people like myself who actually have testimonials, diligently work to make sure that the information and knowledge we share that has had a history of being therapeutic, that we can say, this is what I was able to do, and this is the result I got. So basically, people like myself are dedicated the greater part of our lives, and I'm going to say professional lives, to studying, to formulating, recommending dosage for dozens of herbs. Currently, the World Health Organization recognizes, and this was there again now, 16 years ago, 119 plant-derived pharmaceutical medicines. The result is a better understanding of which herbs work for which conditions, how they should be taken, and the general actions and side effects and dangers that accompany plant medicines. So anything else? So therefore, learn, study, and pay attention. So, what do we say when it comes to herbal healing? Herbs, first of all, we need to know that they refer to plants or parts of plants, and by that I mean, is it the leaf? Is it the flower? Is it the bark? Is it the seed? Is it the root? Or is it the stem? I mean, growing up, the doctor would say, you need to start eating carrots or you're going to be wearing glasses. But the person who studied the carrot, if you take the carrot, cut it across, and you look at it, a little ring here around it, what does it look like? A carrot's cutting across the grain makes it look like an eye. Therefore, the signature of the carrot shows, from the people who studied it and watched it, they found out when they gave, or the people started eating carrots, eye health increased. It got better. So, by using the signature of the carrot, it says, what body part does it look like? And they said the eyes. Okay, so carrots. And then we learned out which vitamins were in the carrot, and therefore those vitamins are good for eyesight. That's how we've come to think about, scratch your head, and say, what's the answer? What's the answer? So, certain herbs such as cayenne and ginger are technically considered spices when you cook with them in your kitchen. For medicinal purposes, they can be classified as herbs. It used to be that all medicines, now listen carefully, please, listen carefully, because going back, I talked to you about the natural way. I talked to you about God's pharmacy. Why? Let's get it connected, okay? Let's get this thing connected. Okay, so the medicinal So if there's spices in the kitchen, and classified as a herb because it has medicinal purposes. It used to be that all medicines were based on natural herbs. Then chemists learned how to isolate the active ingredient in herbs and make them into very potent drugs. So the chemist came up with a drug imitating a strong version of the herb that used to be what given before the drug was available. Like going back to the aspirin, salicylic acid. Oh, we can make that in the laboratory. What happens then? The white willow bark had no side effects. But guess what happened? The drug, aspirin, because of its potency, can eat the stomach lining away, can have adverse effects. So therefore, you have to put a warning on that and say, if you're going to take that, then you need to be aware of side effects of the drug, aspirin. Once they learn how to make synthetic simulations of natural compounds, the booming, and listen to me carefully, the booming, what happened when we were able to switch a plant to a drug? The booming billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry was born. Basically, forget the herbs, folks. You can patent a drug, and you can't patent an herb. That's where it all changed. That's why it is what it is today. Unfortunately, what doctors didn't count on as they were doling out these new, fast-acting, strong, or let's just say super strong prescriptions of medicine, what happened? Were equally fast-acting, super strong side effects and sky-high health care cost. It is problems such as these that have drawn many people back into the gentler, slow-acting way of herbal therapy. That's not to say the herbs never have side effects, okay? That's important to put that in there. But they're generally fewer and less severe. For example, many researchers believe that the herb Valerian can be just as effective for helping to get rid of or beating insomnia or sleeping pills. But unlike sleeping pills, it's not addictive. And Valerian is less expensive. And I'll put this little side note on it. You need to be aware of it because once you open up that bottle that has the capsules of Valerian in it, or you open up that jar that has the leaf, valerian, root, ground up, folks, it's going to smell like somebody stinkied and they just need to go wash up real quick. With that in mind, I think if I was a germ, I would run out of that body as quick as I can because the valerian was put in. The product that is, you probably already know what I'm going to say, is that valerian root was learned in the laboratory that they can make Valium out of it. And Valium, I can remember back in the 60s, most of you weren't even born, but that Valium was very addictive. But one of the things that I learned in my studies, that if a person was, I'm going to say, hooked on the drug Valium, that they could take and offset the negativity or withdrawal and the pain and the side effects by taking valerian root with, and the valerian would help you, quote unquote, wean off of the Valium without those drastic side effects. God fixes things. God has it the way it ought to be. But we as a person, we have the audacity to tell God we can do it better, or we want to impress other Homo sapiens. We're weird. We are one weird character, us Homo sapiens. How do herbs work? How do they work? Well, herbs work the same way medicines do. A long time ago, people observed that animals ate when they weren't well. And they experimented themselves until they discovered the many healing actions of various plants. What they found was that plants had characteristics much like we attribute to our medicines today. Think about this for a moment. When I talk about characteristics of herbs, kind of like drugs, but without the high potency, high dose side effects. Well, there are anti-inflammatories. There are herbs that are anti-inflammatory. There are herbs that are astringent. They have characteristics. They have power. They have potency. Herbs can be a laxative. Senna combination, or Senna, Cascara Sagrada. Those are herbal that have medicinal purposes for, just say, for laxatives. Expectorant. What is in your expectorant you buy across the counter? And when you have fluid retention, which herb can be a diuretic? And when you have something that is a negative bacteria, what is an antibacteria that you can use in the plant kingdom? And we can just say much, much more. The one main difference, which is important to remember when trying herbal therapy for the first time, is that unlike drugs, herbs often take a little time to work. In other words, you're not taking a strong drug. You're taking something that is to work synergistically with, not throw the body out of sync. help the body get through it because it needs a little bit of nudging. It needs a little tenderness. It needs a little love. And the plant is not as strong as. It's going to be a little more patience. And you're talking about the word patient. You need to be able to be reserved in trying to get these things done. It's expensive. Sometimes you have to take an herb for a couple of weeks to feel its effect fully, because it does its healing gradually. You know, if you're able to work with a plant, do it gradually. It don't knock you on your butt and you got to get up and try to make and deal with the potency of a man-made laboratory product. Sometimes you have to take an herb for a couple of weeks to feel its effect fully, because it does its healing gradually. The statement needed to be repeated several times because people come in and they don't get results, so they quit. Let me give you what's called an herbal alert. Herbs can be potent medicines, okay? But they can also be potent poisons. It's important to educate yourself about any herb before taking it. A few can cause irreparable damage, disease, or even death if taken the wrong way. Herbs are potentially dangerous include things like chaparral, comfrey, foxglove, pennyroyal, pokeweed, and sassafras. Furthermore, even herbs that are healing for some people can be harmful for others. Always talk to your doctor before beginning an herbal therapy regimen. And pregnant women, be conscientious about the gift you're carrying in your womb. What I'm saying is, you gotta use, and one of the things that's really the safest way I know to do is like the herbs we carry in bottle have recommendations on them. And herbs that are from a company that takes and does their testing. Very important. And knowing the chemistry behind it. We carry herbs from 2 companies that I know to go over and beyond what needs to be done for you to be safe in taking it as directed. Okay? So, there again, going back to what we're saying in the very beginning of the program, herbal remedies, the natural way, is designed to increase your knowledge of healing practices that may relieve some conditions. And I am talking to you on this program, is intended to use as a reference source. Use it as a resource and not as a substitute for proper and prompt medical care. Use the information to complement, not replace, any treatment or advice your physician may prescribe or recommend. It's very, very important. We talked about in the beginning here, we talked about aloe vera. So we have a few moments. Let's just pick up on a couple of the herbs, help you understand what this plant has been doing, still doing, and continues to do. So let's take aloe vera. I'm going to talk about it a little bit for you. Derived from a plant in the cactus family. Aloe has been used for, we're talking about centuries. Aloe vera has been around. Cosmetic manufacturers infuse hand creams, face creams, and shaving creams with the aloe from aloe leaves because of its skin softening abilities. So that aloe vera in there, when you're putting it on your face for shaving, lotions, dry skin, it has softening abilities. And it's even better to keep on hands to soothe minor burns and sunburns. Aloe contains amino acids, vitamins and minerals, as well as salate substitute like that found in aspirin, which can help reduce inflammation. Also, or finally I should say about the aloe here, well-known laxative effect. If you need a gentle nudge for the poopy fairy to visit with you, aloe vera can be an herb, plant for you to do that. And look at some of the things from the pharmaceutical companies as to how they incorporate aloe in their products. The one I love, and I have the highest respect for this herb. Actually, there's a company called Nature Sunshine. This was the first herb they marketed, and it was called capsicum, better known as cayenne pepper. Strange though as it may seem, the spicy red pepper, known as cayenne or red pepper, can actually help soothe the stomach lining and help in the treatment of ulcers and other gastrointestinal diseases. Cayenne pepper, you would think that's it. But I will use cayenne pepper. I keep it very readily available. It's in my first aid kit. You stop bleeding and nicking, and poor little head, Claiborne. You beat it up so bad. Need to wear a hard hat everywhere you go. But if it's hurt it, bleeding, I get the pepper shaker out and shake it on my head. Because I have it available that way. And guess what? The bleeding stops. And just leave it that way until it, and then after you take your shower and clean it up or whatever, or pat it off with a clean gauze and so forth, cayenne pepper is perfect. Okay, cayenne is also useful for stimulating digestion because it increases the flow of digestive juices. And most of us will say, yeah, it's trying to put out that burning I got in my mouth. Some herbalists say that taking capsules of this spicy herb can improve and increase circulation, making it useful for treatment, some headaches, circulatory problems such as cold feet, and you can find them now. You can find these little things you stick in your shoes to keep them warm. What is it? Cayenne pepper is what it is. Finally, if you have sore muscles or painful joints, rub them with a cayenne ointment. It can only provide quick relief. So we do a lot of chamomile, echinacea, feverfew, garlic, ginger, ginkgo, ginseng, golden seal, gaticola, lemon balm, milk thistle, nettle, peppermint, saw palmetto, St. John's wort, valerian, witch hazel. Then how do we get these in our system? We use capsules and tablets, essential oils, extract and tinctures, ointments, teas, whole herbs. That's what we're all about. It really is naturally. It's helping you understand that. And actually, there's I could just say that there's a motive, and that is give God the credit, since He is the one that manufactured, made, we manufacture, but He makes it available for us. Chamomile tea, you're talking about relaxation. I like chamomile. It's very, very neat. The original sleepy time tea. You heard that? Sleepy time tea? Chamomile, which is derived from the chamomile flower, is frequently taken as a relaxant. Chamomile also works as a gentle aid in digestion, and researchers have found that this herb has anti-inflammatory and anti-infective properties. For that reason, some herbal experts recommend a chamomile extract for inflammations of the skin, inside the mouth and the gums, and even the genital regions. So chamomile is there for you. Echinacea, coneflower. I love it. And coneflower growing in my flower bed. I go out and eat them. Daisies, I eat them. The herb may be the first to surpass conventional over-the-counter drug as a remedy for colds and flu. Where are we in right now? Colds and flu. Echinacea has a history. Conventional over-the-counter drug as a remedy for colds and flu. Originally used by the Native American healers in the treatment of skin bite. Skin bite? No. Snake bite. Treatments of damage to the skin and snake bites and skin wounds. Echinacea has shown modern American researchers just how potent it can be against infections. Studies show that substances found in echinacea root can stimulate the production of important immune system cells and protect the body against inflammation or infection, such as those caused the common cold. Herbalists still use echinacea to eliminate insect bites, acne, and abscesses. Echinacea is one of the first herbs that I came in contact with. Study it on a little bit, pull it up, Google it, or somebody check them out and see what they got to say about echinacea. And it's something, guess what? You can grow in your flower garden. To tell you the story, people saw the Indians doing something that was keeping them from getting flu, and they were taking Echinacea. So what happened is, and this is where the guys become entrepreneurs, like we can say now, you know, we call them pharmacists now. But what happened was, people started going across the West in wagons, and they were known as the snake doctors. And why did they get that name? Because the echinacea the Indians used for snake bite was made available. The people learned how to make it. And echinacea became a commodity that was sold in a little bottle with a whole lot of alcohol. As alcohol didn't get it, the echinacea did. And they sold it as home remedies. And that's what it came about. And that's how we came up with the snake doctor. Out there driving that wagon with them horses across country. Before you end the show, come in, talk to us about the probiotic, and you can get this as a TV special for $15 instead of $22.50. Probiotics, try it. $15 at Remedy This Naturally. Folks, it's been my pleasure to bring to you the natural way, God's way, but most of all, healing power of what we came from, the elements in the earth. Until we meet again, I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. It's been my joy and privilege to be able to share with you what God has shared with me. May good health be yours and continue to enjoy 2021. Until next time.